Okay, so Dr. Tincani, thank you so much for joining us for the Get to Know Your Professor series. And for the first question, could you give us a short introduction of yourself and tell us what courses you teach?
All right. Well, thank you. My name is Michela Tincani, and I teach the first year statistics module. I'm an applied economist, and I do research on mostly education topics. So, for example, how do you design an education system so that it's equitable? That's a type of research question I would ask.
Thank you so much for that. And you talked about your love for economics, particularly applied economics. So obviously, I must ask the question, how did you get into economics in the first place?
Yes, well, how I got into economics was a little bit by accident. I think what is more interesting in my case is why did I stay in economics? Why did I pursue graduate courses? And that is due to a professor. His name is Dan Sasaki, and I was a visiting exchange student, undergraduate at the University of Exeter. And I took this industrial organization course, and for the first time, I saw game theory. Game theory applied to understand the world around us, understand phenomena around us, and I thought that was just mind-blowing. And right there and then, I knew that I would study economics.
And so you talked about how you got into economics as because of a professor. But now hypothetically speaking, let us assume you did not get into economics and you did not become an academic. What do you see yourself pursuing? What profession or what do you see yourself doing?
So this is a very difficult question because I've always knew that I wanted to keep learning. I didn't know that would bring me to academia or that I would become a researcher, but I knew I wanted to keep learning. But what I can tell you is that I know what I would have studied, and that was chemistry. So in the last couple of years in high school, I was sure I would do chemistry. Everyone knew it. My parents knew it. My teachers knew it. And then, last minute, I decided on a whim almost to do economics. And my professor of chemistry, she got very disappointed, very upset, and she accused Bocconi University of luring me into studying economics. So in the end, I ended up studying economics. I love what I do, but something funny is that, the stats course I teach and that you took is very large, and we don't have a large lecture theater in the economics department. So as you know, we teach it in the chemistry department. And
yes.
The first time I walked into the lecture theater, I saw this huge, humongous periodic table on the wall. And I thought it was just a reminder of, what I could have become and didn't become. But I think that if you are given the opportunity, you can find something that you like in whatever profession you're doing. So I didn't study chemistry, but I love what I'm doing now.
So could you tell us about one of your most memorable, interesting or funny conversation with a student?
Yes. Well, you've taken my course, so as you know, it is large and it is difficult to have a lot of interaction in a large course. And that's something that the students don't like and I don't like. And so as you know, last year I introduced the S factor.
Sure.
The S factor is what it sounds. So it's the X factor for statistics. And the main goal was for me to get to know some of you a little bit better. And I have to say, I was impressed by the ideas that the students had. So I got to know some of the students by reading the proposals, some of them by actually meeting them. I can tell you some of the ideas the students came up with. For example, one student was interested in measuring inequality among UCL students, and he came up with a measure of inequality, which is who eats grapes and who eats blueberries, because grapes and blueberries, they carry the same nutritional content, but one is a lot more expensive than the other. Another student wanted to measure the likelihood that your phone is snitched at a London undergrad station. Or yet another project was on trying to use statistics to predict goal scoring in football leagues. And I was just impressed by the creativity of the students and everything, all their ideas were extremely interesting. And so, and let me advertise the S Factor to next year's cohort. We will have it again. It's going to be a fixture in the course. So get ready, come up with your ideas.
Moving towards a slightly personal aspect of the interview, and how you spend your time generally, could you describe your ideal Saturday for us?
Yes. Well, ideal Saturday has to involve good food. I'm Italian, and like many Italians, I really love good food. Something else I like to do, I love London parks. So I will go to a park for a walk, and then I would end the day with some swing dancing to live jazz.
Could you show us a favorite book, an inspirational picture, or a note you hang in your office?
Okay, so anyone who has been to my office knows that I have pictures of my mom in my office. Many people think it's me, but no, it's her. So my mom was born in a town called Gallipoli. That's in the south of Italy.
Wow.
A beautiful city. It's actually surrounded by, it's a dream. But my mom had to leave Gallipoli to pursue economic opportunities in the north of Italy. And so I find, but she's always kept Gallipoli in her heart, and she always missed Gallipoli. And I find this story inspiring because it's just a reminder for me that behind every immigrant there is a story and there is a struggle, more or less intense. But also, it's a reminder of the positives of immigration. And at UCL, every year the incoming class in the econ department is mostly foreign-born students. You are a foreign-born student. I immigrated myself, and I think it's just fantastic that we had the opportunity to think I can go anywhere in the world to pursue my ambitions, and I can do that.
That is very beautiful, Dr. Tincani. And yeah, it's obviously use the opportunities you get, but I think it's also a reminder of where we come from and not to forget those places and our roots, especially. Thank you so much for that. And for the last question, and this is sort of a protocol question, judging by the audience, and you have already provided a lot of advice for the individuals watching this video. But could you give any particular advice to the incoming and prospective students to UCL?
Yeah, so the advice I would give is to trust the process. Trust the process of university. So you will have times at which you will be excited, times at which things will seem very difficult. But I think if every day you put in effort, every day you challenge yourself, at the end of this process, you will have a UCL degree, very valuable, because of the amount of learning you will be doing. And so trust the process. And, if there are moments that are particularly dark for mental health issues or personal issues, then I want you to know that we have resources, there are people you can talk to, and that we've got your back.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Professor Tincani. And that